Green Acres is the place for me. I don't remember the rest of the song. Hey, Kerry, you had an interesting idea. You said let's play some trivia today. So my dad's here, Joanne's here, other people will be joining us. Talk a little bit about what we did for trivia.
So this is so random. I came across a BuzzFeed quiz. It was like, we can 100% guess your age if you just answer these questions. I'm like, well, I don't know about that. But before I took it, I thought, hold the phone. What if we take it together with all of you?
So there is a BuzzFeed trivia thing right on this link. I'm talking and chewing gum here at the same time. But it's answer these 80s, 90s, and 2000s trivia questions, and we'll guess your exact, and I mean exact age. And so obviously we're going to have to, we'll have to look at yours. Wait a minute, open system settings. We'll have to see how you make out or don't make out. It's telling me it may not be able to look at this screen. Well, let's see what happens. Let's see if it'll let me do it. We'll have to see whether or not it's going to allow us to just guess our age. Hang on one second. I think we're up in business. Kerry, what's your guess ahead of time? Or is it going to guess your age?
So Spotify thinks I'm so old because I have a family thing and everybody listens to everything. So the kids have like hyper pop and video game music. And then you go the whole other way. And my husband and I will listen to like 80s or something, like stuff that predates us just because it was still playing on MTV or whatever later. So I don't know, it thinks I'm like 50 something, 58 maybe. And I was like, dang, it's like on average, I must listen to really old stuff, like including 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And then the kids listen to their like hyper pop.
I listened to a lot of other music growing up, and I would say that if I used Spotify, which I do not, it would tell me some similar things. It is funny though. YouTube sent me one of those kind of wrap up things, and it made me sad. So I don't want to talk about it, but it surely didn't say I was, living my best life. Let's look at the quiz together, and let's start at the first question in this quiz. And so I've got to stream off of this page to do that. Let's see.
So we
Okay,
have to select the answers.
right. So here's the first question. I don't know. We'll ask. I'll run it through, Carrie, and you answer as you, and we'll guess your age. Do you know which chain restaurant you could get a free personal pizza from for reading enough books? Was it Domino's, Pizza Hut, Papa John's, or Little Caesars?
Don't, but since it would have been around for a while, I have because I look super 80s that graphic. So my guess would be Pizza Hut, but it's just a guess.
I'm gonna put Pizza Hut in. By the way, I just realized it's a very American thing, right? Like, so if Chloe were here, she would know this. Do you remember what exciting thing came inside these little red eggs?
That was silly putty, I think you'll find.
I do actually like that the other options that they gave were chewing gum, moldable erasers, silly putty, and peach taffy. Have you ever had a pager? And I absolutely know what you're thinking when you see this one.
Uh, no, I'm not a pager. So the reason that this is so fun, although I agree with you, it's a little America centric, is because it forces you to think back through your younger years. So you have kind of nostalgia as well as a feeling like, well, I'm not that old when you get to certain stuff and you're like, I don't know what that is, or I didn't have that. And it's kind of like, bless you, by the way, it's kind of vindicating. So I'm going to say, I know what this is. I absolutely did not have one, and more importantly, I was not friends with anybody who had one.
I worked in a telecom services company, so I absolutely had one. I had the SkyTel two-way pager. I never had the one where you had to like go find a phone. I had the one that was like on the way to being something where you could talk to people on the internet, and it was two-way. So now, did you eat at Wendy's way back when their packaging was yellow and not red?
I did not, but fun fact, my mother was a shellfish warden Cape Cod, and whatever like uniform they gave her to wear, she would wear into Wendy's because they gave free food to police officers. So it looked enough like a police officer that she got free Wendy's. I do not recall it looking like that, but it was a while ago.
I absolutely have eaten at Wendy's with this, and you and I were, of different ages, but I mean, not so far that I would be getting so many more of these. True. As a kid, did you watch your favorite movie for the thousandth time on one of these during a long car trip?
I did not. And moreover, I would not have allowed my children to do so because I feel like that situation is not safe. I don't know what makes it different to have like a tablet or device in their hand, which I tried not to do either in the car, but like this feels like a bridge too far. This is like your car is now your living room. I don't know.
Do you remember which app this now outdated icon was for?
Nope. Don't.
Well, your choices are Instagram, YouTube, videos, or radio.
Scroll back up for a second. Can you like go back up for a second? I want to look at it more. I don't know. I guess it sort of looks like a TV. So YouTube.
Did you ever have these as an after school snack, and perhaps meticulously measure out the cheese so that each cracker got its fair share?
First of all, I am still pre-cool. I was not cool before, but someday I will be. So there's no after cool snack for me. It's a pre-cool snack. I don't remember eating these, but it's kind of they look sort of gross. So, but I feel like I had similar stuff. I don't know. I had the crackers that have like cheese in them already. Like you don't even get to spread the cheese. That's it. You get what you get. I had those. So I'm gonna say no, I didn't eat those because that's the strictest, most honest answer.
I don't know if I had these at the time I was like a kid at school, but I can absolutely tell you that I had a chance to eat off of those little red plastic sticks because I was always thinking this feels like a choking hazard. I was like a kid realizing this, but I wasn't a very young kid, so I don't really know when I saw those in my age. By the way, see brogan.net/trivia if you'd like to play along. I'm sure you have different answers than Kerry and or myself. Do you know what this thing is called? Is it a microscope, a magnifying glass, a tracing light, or an overhead projector?
That is an overhead projector. And the school that I went to was in fact like very well resourced and had a place where you could create your own transparencies. It was like next level. So you could make a transparency for your class presentation that you could show on the overhead projector.
Nerds could. Do you know what this thing did? Did it save songs onto a cassette tape? Did it record TV shows onto a VHS? Did it record voicemails or did it play audiobooks?
Well, it says something phone in the lower left corner, and it looks like a very early generation answering machine. So those recorded voicemails. My dad had a hilarious recording outgoing on his very first answering machine. It was like, I can't take your call personally at the moment, but I've provided this recorder to take your request. Because like a person wouldn't understand because it was so new.
Do you instantly remember the nostalgic smell of mimeograph ink?
Not even a little bit. Mm-mm.
I'll let you know that I had to answer no for you, but oh my gosh, I used to sit at that machine and grind those babies out. So there's not a ton of years between us, but sometimes it feels like centuries. This asks the question, do you know which character belongs on this push pop? Which essentially was like a glorified toilet paper tube. And it also says Yabba Dabba Do Orange. So is it Scooby Doo, Fred Flintstone, Jane Jetson, or Dexter?
I just had a fun conversation with my kid actually because I was asking, do you know who Fred Flintstone is. Do you know the Flintstones? And they were like, yeah, from the memes, but they did not watch the show. They looked at only at like memes and gifs. So then I said, do you realize that the Flintstones was itself based on another show from decades earlier, The Honeymooners? And my kid was like, nope. So I'm pretty sure we're going to lose as we go in jokes and kind of homages. Like we're just going to lose context for this kind of stuff. But anyway, the short answer is Fred Flintstone.
I was thinking as you were saying that about, do you know who the Flintstones were? I was thinking, hey, also the honeymooners. So when you said that, I had that weird feeling you have when you get excited that someone knows the thing. Do you know anyone who had one of these massive can openers on the kitchen wall? That one's by Sears, by the
To think about this, does I assume like work counts? I guess so. I worked at a bakery, and I feel like they maybe had something like this. So I'm gonna say yes, but it was not like everybody and I knew had one of these. We had like the but we had an on counter one. I think it was yellow, an on counter one. So I'm just gonna say yes. I don't know.
The closest I had was my parents or friends had one. So, meaning it's like the generation above, but you saw it in action. So then this question, what is this here that we are looking at? Is that a photocopier? Is it a PC tower, a gaming console, or a VHS player?
First of all, that's a gaming console. But second of all, in case you're just joining us and you're like, why the hell am I watching this? This is this quiz is supposed to tell us without fail how old we are based on our answers. So we thought it would be a fun Friday activity. And also we'd get along the way to dip into a little bit of nostalgia and reminisce about fun stuff. So welcome. And if you want to take the quiz along with us, you can do it at cbrogan.net/trivia, and you'll be taking the same quiz that we are. Okay.
I did not have the Nintendo gaming console. Actually, and my dad's on the call, so he can attest to this. We always had the off brand version of something. So we didn't have Atari, we had Odyssey. We did not have Nintendo, we had Sega. So it was always kind of like the thing other people didn't have. We had the is Pepsi okay of whatever the brand name thing was. And it's just the choices were made. You might have heard of Crystal Pepsi, but have you ever drank it yourself or actually seen it in the flesh?
Yes, I'm gonna say yes, and the reason I'm hesitating is trying to remember if I actually tasted it or not. I feel like I did, and I didn't like it, but that's probably just because, I was used to, like, the stuff that colors your innards, caramel color.
Yeah, I think I definitely had it for sure, and I remember thinking, "Oh, it's okay, it's cool." Like it was not a big hit, which everybody knows. Aha! What was this thing used for? Was it for laminating cards, cutting photos, copying a customer's credit card info, or printing flashcards?
Joke's on you. I grew up in a relatively, removed from the city area, but it was a resort town. And so they tended to have technology that was like a little bit behind. And I do remember these. I also remember asking for the carbon because I did not think it was secure to have your credit card information floating around. You had like a carbon on the bottom. So you'd like move that thing and imprint your credit card information on a receipt, which fine, they need the info. But then there was like a carbon they'd just put in the trash and it had it was like the reverse. It has all your information on it. And I was like, that definitely doesn't feel secure. So I would take the carbon, just FYI. So yes, I know what it is a credit card thing. And also I used to take the carbon.
Aha! Have you ever played with a Wheelo? Now, my guess is you're going to say no.
So okay, so this is one of those toys that it's before my time, but my brother had one somehow and used to just kind of leave it around. So I think I maybe touched it once or twice. I didn't It's not like a thing I had, but it is a thing I have seen. So yes, I have in fact played with that thing. What are you putting in the banners?
Just writing notes, that's all. Just writing notes. All right, let's see. So you're a yes on a Wheelo. I had one of those things. Let's see. Have you ever enjoyed the now discontinued chopped beefsteak sandwich or the onion nuggets at McDonald's? Hmm.
No, that looks pretty gross. We were pretty standard, like standard fare. I do remember when they had like French toast sticks for a minute, but that's it's a whole separate question. No, never seen this, and I don't want to.
Do not want. Okay, so we're a no on that. Do you? Oh, come on. That's a laser gun. Do you know what this is called? That is a double barrel laser gun. In case you've never had the luck of using one of these, is that an egg beater, a hand frother, a butter churn, or a mix-o-matic?
Look, I know it's not a butter churn, okay, but like what the exact term for that thing is, I couldn't friggin' tell you. But I've seen one, so hold on, let me think about this. Go back down. Egg beater mix. It's not a mix-o-matic because you're doing it by hand. It's not a butter churn. I don't know why the heck anybody would buy a hand frother. I'm gonna go with egg beater. I'm gonna say egg beater because I have seen one.
I have used egg beaters for everything but beating eggs for ages. But when we were doing like holiday cookies and stuff like that, my mom would have those things out and she would have to pry them out of my brother and I's hands because we would use them on everything but beating eggs, including each other's hair. So there we go.
Thank you for elaborating. I was getting worried about what that would be.
How many phrases on this classroom's banned words list do you know the modern meanings of, including Sigma, Yap, Riz, Jeffy, Alpha, Beta, Skibbity, Aura, Giat, Ohio, Bombo, Clat, Grimace, Shake, Phantom Tax, Diddy, Sank, something. Oh, Hot Twa.
Okay, hold the phone. So Sigma is good. I know that one. Riz also good. I know that one. Not the next two. Alpha I get. Okay, so hold on. We're at 3. Beta I get. Skibbity. Aura, yes. Giat, yes. Ohio, yes. Phantom tax, that's sharing your food with someone. Diddy, yes. And Haktua, yes. So I guess that's 11. Is that a score? 11. Yay, I'm in some new category.
But did you ever have Nestle Quick coming out of a metal canister? And as I'm reading this, I'm like, what does it come out of now? Because that's the only way I've ever had it.
Okay, so yes, I have. And also, at one point in my childhood, made the mistake of pouring the milk into the canister, and then I didn't know what to do, so I just put the metal thing back on, put it back in the cabinet, and no one ever said a thing. And my theory is, for all these years, is that the powder inside like sucked up the milk because I didn't like pour a full glass. I just like poured a little bit. I think they just didn't know, and then it just like stayed in there.
I really hope we have more than one person actually watching this. This is depressing if so, but we're playing trivia. See Brogan at S Less Trivia. You can take this quiz yourself, find out how old you are. And also along the way, the goal was that we were going to talk and make each other giggle with sort of our experiences like Kerry pouring milk right into the quick. What is this called? Come on.
That's a Walkman. Don't waste my time. Come on now.
And then this is important. What are these used for? Oh my gosh. So it's holding paper candles, drawing on a chalkboard, keeping flowers upright, playing the piano as a beginner.
First of all, if people watching or not watching, if they're like, these quizzes are dumb, I agree. But I know you've taken them. So we're taking one right now. If you want to take one and have a little fun on Friday and maybe get to know us a little bit better, cbrogan.net/trivia. Now, okay. So when you say, why do people use these? I don't know why they use them, except for one thing, which is that when you got in trouble in school, you had to write the same sentence over and over and over and over and over again on the board. And after you've written it, like, I don't know, 25 times or 15 times or something like that, then you could go. Your punishment was done. So if there was one of these in the rooms, you freaking know I was using it to like write my sentence. It was hard to master, but worth it. And it is for drawing on a chalkboard.
Yes to drawing on a chalkboard, but you were very creative and inventive in how you drew on the chalkboard and why. That is to put musical notes on the chalkboard, musical lines. So you have 5 lines, 4 spaces. That is how you draw that out, and then you can put the musical notes. It was a faster way to do musical annotation, but I love the ingenuity on that one. Joanne says, by the way, this boomer is having so much fun. I don't know that many of these items, but most are familiar. And I wish that this thing had a mix of even more, but I guess I can see why there might be some statistical challenges with this. So here's the next question. Do you remember playing with one of these in an attempt to find some free food at a Taco Bell?
No, no, I've never seen that.
Luckily for some of us, this is the end. And this says, and finally, what is this gaming console called? Is that an Xbox Portable? Is that a DS? Is that a PSP? Or is that a Game Boy Light?
Okay, I'm gonna admit I have not touched or handled one of these, but I think that it is a Game Boy Light. And yeah, I didn't have one, but I feel like that. I feel confident. Oh, I'm a millennial. Nice. I'm a pager carrying millennial. No, I don't have a pager. Never did, but I'm a millennial and I know what pagers are.
On the last one, I didn't realize it was going to jump us to the end super fast, but on the last one, it's a DS. It actually says it in the graphic in the bottom left corner, bottom right corner. It says DS. But yeah, I mean, it's reasonable to think Game Boy. Game Boys were a little more up vertical, like portrait mode on a phone or whatever, and DSs were horizontal, the way everyone always wanted it to be. Um,
Nerd.
I know, but listen. So there you are. You're a millennial. Now, I presume you took this test before doing this. How did you fare when you took it by yourself, or not?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I wanted to experience this for the first time with you and with everyone. So no, I hadn't taken it before. It was fun and interesting. I agree. It like skews a certain direction and is very Americanized. I'd be interested to see like something more global, but I think it's fun. I mean, once in a while, these things are fun, if only to kind of shake loose some memories from your early days that you maybe haven't thought about in a while.
So Joanne asked the question, wait, how old are you, Kerry? Well, a millennial would be in their 30s to possibly early mid 40s. And that's evidently how old Kerry is again.
Take the quiz. Let's find out how old everybody is. That would be my advice. So I this was fun for me. I know it maybe not as much fun for other people, but I would be interested to know how you would have done on it, Chris. So if you take it, you'll have to tell us.
I mean, I could probably like whip through it really quick. Let me just whip through really quick. So answer the questions. Did I know which one for books? I'll say Pizza Hut the same reason you did. I know that's silly putty and not chewing gum. I did have a pager for work. I did have yellow Wendy's. There was no TV in the car. What kind of crazy people? I knew that was YouTube. I absolutely had those Ritz crackers. I did know that this was an overhead projector. Yes, for recorded tapes. Oh my gosh, I had one of my own back in the day. I knew that was Fred Flintstone, partly because it said Yabba Dabba Doo right on the thing. My grandparents had one of those. I know that that's the Nintendo. I've had Crystal Pepsi. Thought it wasn't super great. Credit card info, Wheelo. Never had those gross foods from McDonald's. Egg beater. That was like a operating toy in my house. I'm gonna go with 7 to 10 of those hot tois things. Um, the Walkman, Chalk. I mean, I lived that. Did not know what that thing was. I totally knew that was a DS. I'm Gen X. That's what it says. According to calculations, you're 50 years old, making you a Gen Xer. Are we correct? So, yep.
So it's on the nose then. I recommend everybody go take this because you're gonna want to find out how old you are, just in case you don't already know.
Now, again, there was only comment on BuzzFeed because I was just wondering, does anybody even comment on BuzzFeed? The only comment is this is purely for Americans, and that's true. This is unfair for if you were raised in another culture. And the other thing is, I would like to see one of these for did you grow up in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s? Because it would be neat to see, or even 50s, 60s, 70s. I think it would be neat because I think there'd be definitely some interesting follow up on how that gets split up. Joanne says definitely Gen X for Chris. Wow. No, I mean it. Yeah, that's my life right there.
I think we've got to get your dad on this show, is what I think.
I mean, when you think about, I was just thinking about the mechanics of that kind of a quiz too. It is interesting. Like, somebody's just sitting around designing these things for BuzzFeed and probably making like, $40 a post or $100 a post or whatever they're making. And so it's not like there's like a great deal of science, but it did guess reasonably well some ages based on some things we knew. And I think it's interesting. Like, I just want to know how the mechanisms of that work, don't you think?
I mean, yes and no, because BuzzFeed has many quizzes. And what I will say is, I know they're collecting data like about me while they do this, but I don't care because I'm not like logged in and I don't participate all the time. But if they want to throw me into some like aggregate pot of data, I'm fine with that. Your dad says the answer to my age did not show up. I used the link and used the browser edition of the quiz. I did not see my age. What are we going with?
I'm going to go with it's a user error, and that tells you dad's age. No, so when you go on it, you have to click on the things. You have to click an answer to each one. You have to actually browser click the answer, and when you get to the bottom, the very last one will spit out the answer. So if you missed one, skipped one, didn't answer one, etc., it's not going to give you the answer. But I think if you retry it, it might work out. But who knows? Maybe your browser's bad. Maybe if you're doing it on your phone browser while you're talking to us because you didn't explain mobile browser or not, that could be a problem. So there's a lot of things that could go horribly wrong. Well, we did trivia, Kerry. I think that's the end of our show.
So I think a couple of things. We have not too many episodes left before we relaunch the Backpack Show in January. So I'm hoping that when you show up on January 2nd, you are not surprised or disappointed to discover that it is now the Backpack Show. But you've got a couple more live streams of Play for Time, and I hope you'll come with us and do some more fun things next week.
I'm happy to bring back the Backpack Show. It's fun that we, did this variation to see what would happen. Some people loved it more. Some people did not love it more. It was definitely a lot more production heavy, which we learned that it was not a strong suit for Kerry. But interviewing is, and getting some guests together is, and Kerry has put together this, using AI, put together this crazy marketing plan full of great information, lots of cool stuff along the way, lots of guest seeking. So it'll be fun. And I like that Joanne's pretty excited about it herself. So what else you got? Or are we ready to go? What do you think?
I think your dad needs some tech support, so you should probably go.
We'll see how we did it. All right. Well, listen, I think this is the button. Let's see you.